What is up, everybody, and welcome back to my 2 Cents on Love, where we focus on individual improvement as well as a relationship improvement, because we can't get better together if we aren't getting better individually. I'm your host, Montique, and recently I was intrigued by a question I was asked. One of my friends was telling me how he was struggling with dating and what I would tell a guy is the best way to get girls. Now, disclaimer, I'm just a guy friends usually go to for advice at times. I'm no guru, and I don't pretend to be, but I thought this was an interesting question. Some people think you need to have the best outfits or the best cars, the best pickup lines or the best looks, the best jobs and the best money. But I've seen guys who can't dress, who don't have any money, who don't have a car and can barely talk, that are able to date just fine. So if it's not jobs or money, if it's not what you wear or how you look, what is it that makes all of those guys similar? Well, it's simple. The one thing that all of those guys actually have in common is confidence. Confidence is the key. So ask yourself, how confident are you? Most people in general like confident people. Confidence is akin to attractiveness. There's something sexy about a person that's confident. There's something mysterious about them. If a person is super confident but doesn't look that good, the first thing people are going to think is, why is that? Those people make up stories in their head as to the possibilities and what this person can be so confident about in their own life. I've talked to a lot of people who say the same thing. They'll pick up dudes that have no car or job, and they'll love the hell out of these guys. And when asked why, they'll barely be able to explain it. They'll be like, oh, there's just something about them, or I'm not sure, it was just good vibes. It's always something like that. But what they're really being pulled towards is the confidence. The confidence creates the aura creates the vibe attracts the people. When someone has confidence, it's like a magnet that just draws your attention. I bet you can think of somebody right now that you don't find particularly attractive, but it's their confidence that puts them over the top. And I bet you can think of somebody who looks great, but they're so insecure that makes them unattractive to you, because that's the key. But what is it that makes a person confident? There's certain traits you can see in people who are confident. For example, confident people don't seek approval from others. They're willing to take risks. They admit their mistakes, and they're able to accept a compliment, and they're optimistic. Those are just some of the traits of confident people. Well, let's say you're listening to this and you find that you don't have all or most of those traits. How do you gain confidence? The key to gaining confidence is knowing who you are and accepting yourself as you are. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. If you're an absolute mess, then damn it, love the mess. Love yourself, flaws and all, because essentially what you're doing when you're dating is you're asking somebody else to accept you as you are. So how about you do yourself a favor and be the first person to do that? And a good place to start is affirmations. Affirmations are easy if you're honest with yourself about how you feel. So this next part is going to take some time, so I suggest you grab a piece of paper for this exercise. Grab mine real quick. But if you can't, pull up your cell phone's notes app. This is going to be pretty interactive, and we're going to be pausing at certain points, so I'd like for you to follow along. The first thing I want to do is ask you a few questions about some of the more negative things that go on in your minds. For example, what negative thoughts come up about yourself? What negative thoughts do you hold about your appearance or your abilities? When have you felt not good enough? I want you to take that mindset, and I want you to take on your piece of paper or whatever you're using and list off every single self-limiting belief that you have. Self-limiting beliefs are things like, I'm not smart, I'm unattractive, I'm bad at relationships, I'm unlovable. All negative things that you attribute to yourself. List everything that applies to you and really sit down and think about it so you get them all out. It's really important that you get to all of them, so please pause if you need to. But while you do that, I'm going to tell you a story. Way back in 2011, I was working at a Chrysler car dealership in Fairbanks, Alaska, where the temperatures in the winter get down to as low as 60 below zero, and the streets are covered with frozen and compacted snow. Because of those roads, the most effective vehicles to have are all-wheel or at the very least front-wheel drive. The ones people stay away from the most are the rear-wheel drives because of how easy it is that a car can fishtail and you lose control. Well, like I said, this is 2011, and I'm working at this dealership, and we had a brand new 2008 Chrysler Crossfire. You heard that right. We had this car for 3 years, and it was still brand new because nobody bought it. And it wasn't bought because it was a rear-wheel drive sports car with sport slick tires on it and located in the coldest city in the United States. It was a nice car, it had a lot of good qualities about it, but it was in the wrong place and with a price tag over $40,000 for a 3-year-old brand new car. It was to the point where they were willing to pay us extra just to sell it. The customer would come in for a huge Dodge Ram 3500 dually with all the bells and whistles. It would say, "Hey sir, by the way, check out this Chrysler Crossfire. It'll look great in your garage. You could even tow it home with your brand new truck." That's how desperate we were to sell this thing. But my manager at the time would say the same thing over and over. He would always say there's an ass for every seat. And that stuck with me. Then one day I come into work and that Crossfire wasn't on the showroom floor. And my manager's sitting in there with a big grin on his face because damn it, there was an ass for that seat. And they finally found it. A rear-wheel drive sports car in Fairbanks, Alaska. And eventually there was an ass for that seat. And there's one for you too. No matter what limiting beliefs you're putting down, there's an ass for that seat. So again, pause if you haven't finished yet. Make sure you get all of those limiting beliefs out. And then once you've done all of that, the next thing I want you to do is take a long look at your list and ask yourself this: in what ways do these beliefs serve me? Why am I holding on to these beliefs? A lot of times we find ourselves being brutally honest with ourselves, not realizing that we're hurting ourselves in the long run. Negative self-talk can only help decay your self-esteem and confidence, and in no way does it help. I'll even say this: you might be ugly to some people, but there's somebody out there that finds that you look damn good to them. There is an ass for that seat. Now, with that being said, I want you to switch up mindsets a little bit. As you worked on the negative side, let's think about a time where you surprised yourself by overcoming a limiting belief. Maybe you got a job promotion or a raise that you were doubtful of, or you accomplished something you thought you couldn't do. Let's get ourselves in that headspace of thinking about times where you've overcome your own personal negativity. Now, after you've done that, I want you to go back to that page with all those limiting beliefs on it and grab a new sheet of paper. And I want you to write down a contradictory affirmation. For example, if you put "I am ugly" as your limiting belief, your affirmation would be "I am gorgeous." If it's "I'm unlovable," then put "I am loved." Whatever the limiting factor is, put an affirmation that's the opposite and positive. Some of these might be tough, but it's important to look at the other side of that coin when we're talking about doing affirmations. And while you're doing that, I will say you could always reach out to me personally at MonteagueD on Twitter, TikTok, and IG if you have questions, because I'm always there for a friend. And if you're taking time out of your day to listen, you definitely have a friend in me. Now, this is the time where if you need more time, which most likely you do, to do these affirmations, go ahead and hit that pause button. Finish up your affirmations, and when you're done, go hit play. And I'll be right here to give you the next step. So after we're done with that, the next step is to take your paper with the limiting beliefs, crumple that bitch up, right? And we're going to toss that away. Whether you're chucking it in the trash or whether you're getting rid of it, deleting it out of your notes app, get rid of it. Because that's the old you. That's what you used to tell yourself. But we're getting better now. So now you've written your affirmations, you've gotten rid of those negative limiting beliefs, and you're ready for the next step, which is to brainstorm ways to prove your affirmations. And this is probably going to be the longest part. But for example, if your affirmation is "I am loved," then you can prove that by planning to spend time with the loved one or giving the loved one a call. Something that reinforces that affirmation. Even the smallest things. Hell, if your affirmation is that "I am gorgeous," then go through your photos and find the best physical trait that you like about yourself and focus on that. The key is to prove these affirmations right. When it comes to this one, though, it's not something that you can just pause and complete. It's one that can take weeks, even months or more to figure out. And that's okay, because this is a marathon and not a sprint. But the absolute thing to do with affirmations is daily. Get your paper or whatever you wrote your affirmations down on, look in the mirror, and say those affirmations to yourself twice a day. Once in the morning to start your day, once in the evening to finish it off. It might sound corny, but it might be challenging at first to do based on just how strong that negative self-talk has been in your life. But by doing this, you'll be able to build up confidence and even more self-esteem. It's like working out. You won't see results on day one or even week one, but as you get into a groove and as you keep doing it, you'll start feeling better and you start getting stronger and, more importantly, more confident. And once that's happening, people are going to start to notice the change in you, and it'll show in the way you talk, the way you act, even the way you walk. Instead of slumped shoulders, you might walk with your shoulders rolled back and your chest puffed out, because confidence radiates throughout, and affirmations are one of the ways to get there. And once that happens, you'll find that you become a magnet and attract people you may not even have believed to be obtainable. Well, so sad we're at the end, but that's been my 2 cents on love, and I've been your host, Montique, thanking you for sticking around and hanging out with me. Hopefully through your affirmations, you can find a confidence in yourself that'll propel you over that finish line, whether it's just for yourself or with someone you're hoping to date. Because like I said before, there is an ass for every seat. Now get those affirmations going and go out there and show the world what you got by being the best you that you can be. I'm going to get out of here, but I'll leave you with this one last thought. Be yourself and love yourself, because if you don't, who will? Peace.